Ladies and gentlemen, truth seekers, meme makers, and internet doom scrollers, welcome to Shouting at News. I'm your host, Plague Dr. Jim, here to untangle the latest web of chaos and lunacy sweeping across our fair land of Albion. Ritually purify yourself and join me on a deep dive into the unseemly belly of the beast. Now, I was going to make a video mocking the insane fundamentalist Islam preacher who's basically running a con on his followers to try and buy a Scottish island, but some knuckle-dragging far-righters down in Englandshire rioted, so I'm stuck talking about this. Contrary to what the maulding fash boys in my comments think, I'm absolutely no fan of fundamentalist religion, especially not of Islam. The state of my held for review comments is precisely why I use the Plague Doctor persona. Now, before the blood had even dried and the forensics team had packed up in Southport, there was a wildfire of speculation, misinformation and outright lies on social media, which sparked a series of violent protests across England from Southport to London, Hartlepool, Manchester and Aldershot. It's had more bad sequels and dodgy spin-offs than a Disney franchise. Now, it's not a great look targeting mosques when you have absolutely no idea about who did it or their motivation. Rwanda, where the suspect his family is from, has a lower Muslim population in both number and percentage figures than the UK. There's less than 1 million of them over there, so it was extremely unlikely that Islamic terrorism was the motivation. And now it's discovered that, yes, indeed, as by balance of probability, he comes from a Christian background. Now, I do understand that not all of these protests turned into riots. Not everybody there is a far-right bigot. It's more like when locusts get triggered to swarm by their back legs running together. Most and many are just ordinary folks, just misled by misinformation or genuinely concerned about violent crime. But the real story is how this misinformation spread like wildfire, fueled by the digital echo chamber where facts go to die. And that makes it more difficult to counter in the traditional sense. People who are right on the cusp of the start of the pipeline to fascism are getting involved with the periphery of the movement. If you aren't hard right or far right, and you're sympathetic to combating Muslim extremism and lowering immigration, know that figures in that far right world are using the violence and mobs right now to their own ends. Over on other social media platforms like TikTok, there's live videos saying, "Join up and guys, we're going to target a mosque." This is happening as I am speaking tonight. Okay? It's okay to be concerned about Islam. I am concerned about Islam. I'm a very vocal critic of the religion. But it's not okay to go down a fascist whirlpool. That is where the boundary lies. If you have fash in your movement, you're a fash movement. You've got to kick the fash out of your movement to basically keep the movement healthy and things moving in the right direction, because it's like lead in the drinking water. There simply isn't a safe amount. There isn't a safe amount of fascists or extremists or hard right people you can have in your movement. Now, if you thought the English Defence League had crawled back under the rock wherein it come from, think again. Despite being defunct in any official capacity, the ghost of grievances past, haunting social media platforms with their toxic rhetoric spread by digital apostles, such as Matthew Hankinson. Now, he's fresh out of the clink after serving time for neo-Nazi activities, and he saw an opportunity to fan the flame, live streaming straight from the scene. He painted a picture of police oppression against peaceful protesters. His narrative, of course, is anything but objective. One of his videos has been viewed more than 8,000 times. Each view potentially a new recruit on that idiot to fash pipeline. The protests themselves were a spectacle of chaos. In Hartlepool, a police car was set on fire. Because obviously, violent protests are the way to react to violence. I'm sure that's not going to be pissing more accelerant straight into the fire. These protests weren't organised rallies, they were more like flash mobs of rage and stupidity, fuelled by a potent mix of genuine concern, but mixed with outright fabrications. Influencers over on X, formerly Twitter, or as I prefer to call it, the Doombird, TikTok and Telegram, where basically old racists who are being kicked off every other platform go to piss off, have been spreading falsehoods that the attacker was an asylum seeker, and again spreading rumours that he was Muslim. We can confirm that he is not. These are the same platforms where you find cat videos and dubious life hacks. Perhaps don't join a pitchfork-wielding mob on the say-so of that and that alone. Lord Simon on X, formerly known as Twitter, played a pivotal role. Lord Simon was amongst the first to call for nationwide protests, falsely claiming that the Southport attacker was an asylum seeker. His video racked up over 1 million views, spreading falsehoods faster than you can hit retweet. Even smaller groups like the Patriotic Alternative jumped on the bandwagon, spreading their slogan "Enough is enough" across social media. Their message, wrapped in the veneer of patriotism, is little more than thinly veiled xenophobia, but it's catchy, and in the viral age, sound bites, that's all that matters. So what's next? Well, more than 30 protests have been planned across the UK. It's like a grim tour schedule, with each stop promising more of the same anger, misinformation and batshit insanity and lack of critical thinking than the last one. In conclusion, what we're witnessing is not a series of well-organised protests, but a chaotic swarm of digital outrage driven by influencers and misinformation. It's a testament to the power of social media, and it makes an alarming case for how the truth can be twisted and deformed. So dear viewers, stay vigilant, fact-check everything, and remember, just because it's trending doesn't mean it's true. This has been Shouting at News with your sardonic host, Plague Dr. Jim, and next time, keep your masks on, your facts straight, and your pitchforks in the shed. Bye.